Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T for April 28th. We are starting off with level 1, and this has a big, crazy shock launcher smack dab right in the middle in front of the HQ, and it's kind of one of those levels that makes you go, Now, my solution for this is drop half your tanks on the left and drop half your tanks on the right. Maybe if you have, say, like 5 boats, drop 2 left, 3 right, just because the ones on the right are going to have extra mortars that they're going to have to work through and a little more work, and the ones on the left definitely drop in advance of the ones on the right. Like give it a head start, because they have a lot further to go up around that corner in the back and work their way through all those different GBE, containers and goos and everything like that. The added bonus is, if you can get the timing right and get everything to kind of merge in on that shock launcher together, the shock launcher can only do one side and not a lot of damage. Your tanks won't be able to do very much, but the shock launcher isn't going to kill your troops, hopefully, unless it takes a really long time. But the point is, you should be able to blow that shock launcher out of the water and then move on to the HQ. Which takes us to stage number 2, which is not nearly as scary. There is a boom cannon in the back. Don't worry about it. It can't get range on you if you land on the left. So, land on the left. The shock launcher there will have range on you and definitely needs to be taken out with GBE. Hopefully you've got enough. If you don't, you can kind of hold off until the very end and throw down some stuns on it. Honestly, the shock launcher isn't going to kill your troops. It's just going to slow you down, and time is going to become your main opponent, which almost seems to be the theme of today's Dr. T. Time seems to be a big thing on many or all of the levels. So that is stage 2 down, easy peasy. We can move on to stage 3, and for stage 3, that was some bad editing. Sorry about that. Alright, so stage 3 has a bunch of boom cannons all over the place down at the right-hand side, so we're going to land left-hand side. And unfortunately, this is one of those levels where I was saying time is our big opponent, because everything looks really easy, but this HQ is super beefy and has a ton of hit points. So I dropped everything in the bottom left to gather the free buildings, but by all means, if you land at the top left, like basically where my flare is there, your tanks will go straight into the defensive structures, straight into the attack, and it saves you, to take out those free GBE things. It took like 40 seconds. If 40 seconds is the difference between you winning and losing, by all means, don't waste those 40 seconds, right? So once you're up at the top, I also flare up to the top corner to get all of those free buildings up there. Again, because time is a thing, maybe don't do that. Maybe just keep pounding straight into the defenses. If you flared straight up from where my tanks were, basically, there are a few defenses, but you should be able to kind of carve that out and then move in towards the HQ, which hopefully will save you several seconds of trying to clear out non-defensive structures for free GBE. Now, if you're truly, truly desperate for that GBE to be able to take down, say, the boom cannon behind the HQ, or to make sure to keep some stuns on those sniper towers, then, you might have to do a bit of a balancing act, maybe even go as far as to boost your troop damage. I know I'm running through with no troop damage, well, no boost really at all, just my native statues, natural, well, I guess they are kind of native statues because they come from, well, he's kind of a warrior guy. I don't know, the warriors are kind of like the inhabitants that you free from bases, and I digress. Not to get, totally sidetracked, but the point is, I'm running unboosted statues, and by landing our troops up here in the top left, right up at the very top, it minimizes what can actually shoot at us, and while nothing can shoot at us, we can shoot at the HQ, which is the kind of thing we love because it means we can kill the HQ. I took out a few rocket launchers because basically they bugged me and they were there and I had the free GBE and I still do. But then like I said, I was kind of concerned. I wasn't sure, I think my tanks have around 1,000 damage per second with just the two of them. So, that's actually a really good question. Let's double check this. One of the resources I absolutely love is Boom Beach Wiki. I don't know if you use it or not, but if you don't, oh my goodness, take a look. It has everything you need and a little bit more. It's fantastic. So yeah, my tanks are pushing around probably about 500 damage per second each, which for two of them, is okay. The really nice thing is if you say had level 10 tanks, you'd be doing the same amount of damage with 3 1/3 tanks, and you can kind of scale that way. So we will move on to stage 4, which is actually not nearly as scary defensively speaking. Well, not defensively speaking, but defensive structure-wise, it's not really scary at all. I did throw down a couple of artilleries on the cannon there, just because I wanted to clear the cannon out. And I did actually land medics with my tanks for this level, because even though there's not an immediate threat, there's not a high point of interest, the move up the right-hand side is very grindy. It's very much a battle of attrition. It's mortars, so they're going to be tossing, area damage, obviously, even though it's not necessarily incredibly high damage per second. Once you get a couple of them together and they're kind of grinding away, they can do all right if you don't have medics. As you can see, I landed my boat of medics. Hopefully you guys have, maybe 2 boats of medics, which would give you more healing than I even have. If you only have the one, you might have to throw out a medkit here and there to try and supplement. Also, what's really nice is with these mortars all clumped together here, one shock, you can toss it down, you can shock all of the different mortars, and give your medics time to catch up healing your tanks, give your tanks time to kill things, and, you get that pretty blue strobe effect on buildings, which, I also enjoy to see. So, as we've taken out all of these mortars, hopefully you're getting some GBE built up. Hopefully you'll have a little bit extra, because basically towards the end here you can just go, I guess, top-lined and throw down a stun. And I think I'm going to be a little late on the stun here. You can stun the 2 sniper towers and the mortar all together just to reduce the amount of damage coming in on your troops. But the rocket launcher behind the HQ well, I guess there's two of them. They can also both be hit with a single stun, or if you can, throw the GBE at them just to wipe them off the mat. Especially the one closest to the HQ, because you can kind of couple hit the flamethrower and the HQ itself, so you get a lot of bonus damage out of, you know, all the GBE you toss at that bad boy. And again, stage 4, one of those stages where the headquarters has just a lot of hit points, and I was kind of concerned about having the damage to take it out. And also what I found really weird is, you can see it right here, the rocket launchers never switched off of my medics. Basically, the end of this level is completely tanked by my medics, because the rocket launchers are shooting past my tanks and hitting the medics. I don't know if it's some kind of weird thing because my tanks are hidden behind the tree, or just, you know, one of the medics like pulled a, I don't know, middle finger, or, you know, was doing something. But yeah, it was definitely very weird. Which brings us on to stage 5, which is a little trickier. We're going to go right up the middle just to get up to the top. You can see the boom cannon on the left side and the boom cannon slash shock launcher on the right side. Basically what we want to do is thread the needle right up in between these two structures. And I fucked up with that stun. I shifted a little further back. If you move it a little forward, you can actually hit the cannon with that stun as well, which is fantastic because it knocks out all those buildings, so your tanks can just pew away and kind of finish them off. And obviously, if you need more time, I guess, if you're putting out less damage, by all means, you know, you can stun multiple times. Just make sure you don't drift too close to that shock launcher, because I guess the window of error is pretty slim right there. Fortunately, the shock launcher has longer range than the boom cannon, so it might slow you down, but it's not going to kill your tank. But again, like I was saying, this is one of those levels where time actually starts to become a concern. And this is having landed, I think, 3 boats of tanks, so I'm up to 6 tanks for this one, which would be around, you know, like 3,000 damage per second. Also, the rocket launchers behind my tanks there, just pummeling away, there's 3 of them, and those things get freaking annoying. They are a big pain in the neck. So if you've got some free GBE, by all means, toss it at those stupid rocket launchers and kind of clear them off, because between the 3 rocket launchers and the 1 mortar that are kind of picking away at your medics standing behind the tanks, you could run into some problems. Like I'm tossing some smokes just to divert, I guess, the shots to the tanks for a little bit. But if you don't have that ability, when you first get up here, some of your tanks will probably drift left towards that mortar. What you can do is, rather than, like me, just flaring onto the HQ and moving forward, let those tanks drift for a little bit and take out that mortar and then flare onto the headquarters. It's just one less defensive structure that's going to be whacking at your medics as they basically heal tank the rest of the fight. So with this, a few more shots, we'll have stage 5 down and some heals. The ironic part being the tanks are taking 0 damage. like, if you watch, they're actually getting healed up to full because nothing's shooting at them, and it's just the medics trying to heal themselves. But hey, it works. Hopefully your medics are able to withstand a few shots, and they've got the extra levels they need to make it through that. So we will go out and we will jump into stage 6, which is actually one of the shorter attacks, but oh man, it needs the GBE, like, what? So we're going to start off with a barrage on the front boom cannon to take out some of those mines, and I was hoping I could place it just right to actually take out the 2 extra boom mines there, which was a little bit of a disappointment, especially because it's going to require, you know, maybe 1 or 2, you know, depending on the level of your barrage and or also some artillery. So I ended up having to toss critters at it just to get them out of the way, and I do this as I'm cutting right up the middle. Now, on the left-hand side, there is a boom cannon that kind of sticks out there, so you gotta watch out for that. Fortunately, on the right-hand side, it's not as scary. There's some sniper towers, and there's some cannons, and there's definitely some stuff you don't want your tanks getting into, but nothing that's gonna, like, one-shot completely ruin your day. So we're going to go back up, we're going to toss more GBE at that boom cannon there, and then continue crawling up to the very top line of the base here, and then we're going to move towards the left. Oh, sorry, actually, I'm going to take out this rocket launcher first, then we're going to move to the left, because I just didn't want it, you know, kind of picking away at the back, at the medics. And now, if you've got free GBE, by all means, toss it down on the sniper towers and the cannons that are kind of in the middle of this bunch. You are probably going to have to take out the boom cannon in the back, so to obviously make that your primary concern, but I'm pretty sure when I was scouting it out, your tanks, if you don't have the GBE to take it all out, can sit right at the cusp, and they can basically just sit on the edge of that boom cannon, I hope. Which is why I say, make it your first priority if you can take it out at all. And then, I don't know what's going on, but apparently some tanks were down chilling with the medics on the beach, having a beach party, getting the shit kicked out of them. But fortunately, the flare into the top corner for a nice safe spot to shoot at brought them back from the death. Ridiculous. Anyways, that is stage 6 down, and we will move on to a preview of stage 7, because though stage 7 definitely looks doable, I don't really have the time or the confidence to just kind of throw my troops in there. I'm kind of thinking of just going right up from the bottom and maybe boosting so that I can just dig through all that mess. The other option is going around the back, but there's shock launchers all over the joint, there's boom cannons all over the place, there's tons of sniper towers. You know, it's going to be definitely an interesting attack, but thank you very much, guys, for watching. Hopefully this has helped you out, and, you know, if it did, please let me know. Throw something in the comments, throw something, you know, throw me a message directly, whatever it takes. Anyways, have yourselves a fantastic day.